How to Write in Third Grade, Volume 2 of 7. Narrative: A mystery room in school. Time needed, 3 periods of 30 minutes. Materials needed: chart paper, blank paper, paint-a-picture worksheets, class writing paper. Teacher background. In the first piece of structured writing, students identified the time and place, the setting, of an interesting event from their summer. They told who they were with, or the characters of their story. Setting and characters are two important elements of a narrative. Think back to the first piece you wrote this year. Maybe you wrote about the swing in your backyard. I have never been in your backyard, so as a reader I imagine my own backyard, or maybe a swing from the school's playground. If you wrote about your grandma's house, I would imagine my own grandma's house, where there are no trees and no lake. You would say, but it's not like that at all. It is your job as a writer to paint a picture with words. You want to make it easy for your readers to see the places you write about through your eyes. You use words to help the reader feel the way you did. In the second piece of structured writing, you are going to practice painting a picture with words. You are going to describe a place here at school that you know well. You must provide enough details so that your reader can guess the room you are describing, but you may not give the name of the room. As with all of our writings, we begin with a brainstorming sheet. We need to generate ideas to write about. Begin with a lined piece of paper. Take 2 minutes to list all the places and rooms you've spent a lot of time in here at school. These have to be places or rooms you can describe. So make sure these are places that you have been to many times and places that you know well. Look at your list. Circle one of the places that you think you could describe. Remember, it isn't your favorite place, but it is a place that you know well. Write your name at the top of your paint-a-picture worksheet. Write the name of the place here at school you are going to describe. Before you complete the paint-a-picture chart, let's look at what you're expected to do. Each column is labeled with one of the senses. All descriptive details are connected to our senses. We can understand this if we think about the way we interact with the world through our senses. For example, I can sense whether something is smooth or rough because I can touch and feel it. I can sense whether something tastes sour or sweet because I can taste it with my mouth. This worksheet will help you gather the descriptive details you'll need to paint a picture of your room with words. Each box below the sense gets a noun and an adjective. A noun is the person, place, or thing that you hear, touch, smell, see, or taste. An adjective is a word that describes what kind of person, place, or thing. For example, if you are writing about the art room, one noun that you could touch is the clay. The adjective tells if the clay is smooth, wet, or sticky. I touched the wet clay. A noun that you could taste is the chalk dust in the air. The adjective would tell if it is bitter or dry. I hate the dry taste of the chalk dust in the air when I'm drawing. Go ahead and find a couple of noun-adjective pairs and write them on your chart. Listen to some of your classmates as they share some of their adjective-noun pairs. Do they prompt any ideas for you? Are there ones that can work for your paint-a-picture worksheet? Now move forward and complete your own paint-a-picture chart. Make sure each box gets a noun, a person, place, or thing, And then think of a word, an adjective, that helps describe that noun. You're going to need 15 details in your story, so be sure to fill in at least 15 boxes. You also need to make sure that you include at least one descriptive detail from each one of your 5 senses. Look over your work. Pick one noun-adjective pair that you will share with the class. If you hear an adjective-noun pair that you like from one of your classmates during the sharing, write it down on your paint-a-picture chart. Before we begin writing, let's look at our paint-a-picture worksheets and see if we can improve them. Here is an example of the work someone did last class. I like the way they said shouting children, bouncing balls, and blowing whistles. 3 different nouns with 3 different adjectives that describe them. Here's another one that doesn't work quite as well. Funny French fries under smell. Funny is not an adjective that describes the French fries. We can make it more interesting to your reader if you say salty or mouth-watering. Look at your worksheet. Can you improve any of your descriptive details? Do the adjectives coupled with the nouns make sense? Take a piece of the class writing paper. Write your name and today's date. Look in the corner where it says Writing Skills. On the first line, write 15 describing details. On the second line, write complete sentences. On the third line, write commas in a series. These are the writing skills you need to include in your story. The first sentence in your story serves as a signal to your reader that you are going to describe a room at school and you want them to guess which room. Think for a minute about how you would like to open your story. One way is, guess which room here at school I'm describing. Another way, using 2 or more sentences, might be, I know a room here at school that I can describe. Can you guess which room it is? You come up with your own opening. Say it in your head to make sure it is a complete sentence and that it makes sense. Then write it down. Go to your paint-a-picture worksheet. Decide which sense you want to start with. You're going to write a sentence that includes the sense and 3 or more of the details from that column. For example, I can start with the sense feel. My sentence might sound like, in this room I can feel wet clay, sticky glue, and soft fabrics. Another example for the hearing sense might be, I hear children shouting, balls bouncing, and whistles blowing when I'm here. Both sentences give the sense, touch, and hear, and list 3 adjective-noun pairs. I put a comma after each of the pairs. Now you continue on your own. Write a separate sentence for each sense. Use at least 15 adjective-noun pairs, and remember to include commas whenever you include 3 or more details in a sentence. The last sentence in your story has to signal to your reader that you are done and that it is now time for them to guess which place you are describing. Can you guess which room I'm describing? Another way could be, is this a room that you've been in? Or, I'm done describing this place. Now it's time for you to guess. Now write a sentence or sentences that signal to your reader that you're done, and it is time for them to guess which place you are describing. Go back to the beginning of your story and quietly read it through. If one of your sentences doesn't sound right, then there is probably something wrong. Fix it so that it sounds correct. Go to the top of your paper and look at the writing skills. Did you use 15 adjective-noun pairs? Count them to be sure. Did you write in complete sentences? Finally, did you put commas to separate 3 or more adjective-noun pairs in a sentence? Now practice reading your essay, because you're going to have to read it aloud to the class so that they can guess which place here at school you described. Good job.